Hello and welcome to the latest of the series of videos showing features within Db2 Admin Tool. And in this video, we're going to look at change management process that is available to you in this product. What we're going to do is we've seen in a previous video how a change to a table via the ALT command, and now we're going to wrap that around a change management system. So first off, let's switch on the change management system. So if we went to CM, then we've got the manage ID table. So here you can decide whether people must use the change management system or optionally use it or don't have to use it at all. So as you can see here, the default setting is none, and myself, TS6365, my user ID doesn't have to. So let's swap it to optional. Okay, so now I am inside the change management system. So let's go and have a look at the tables we've been looking at. So we have this PK tab and the table here. So as we can see here, it's the same table we've had all the way through the previous changes. So let's make the change that we did before. So ALT, and first change is this. Because I'm set to optional, I have the option of not using it. Obviously, I'm going to say yes this time. If I'd have made it compulsory, then I wouldn't have seen that screen. I'd have gone straight into it. So as you can see, it still looks the same. So let's add the constraints, and we'll alter this one. And if you remember, we just put 3 here to change that. As you can see, the numbers changed, and we'll just do a next. And there we go. We've modified the primary key. Now we're just going to go next through to here. And if you remember, we've got to change the index as well. So we'll add the object. And now we're going to alter it. We're going to move int 3, the primary key index. As before, could still make other changes. So there we go. That's the 2 things in there. And we're going to hit next. And this is where things start to change. So we can see here that I'm now here to register a change. So the process flow is that you register a change. That then becomes defined in the change management process. You then run an analysis in it to change the status to analyzed. You then run it, and then it comes into a status complete. And only when it's at the complete stage has the change finished. So here we go. I can make in comment video 8. And I just hit the next key. And all this is doing is registering that change. Done. We come out and we go into the change management option, and we have a look at manage changes, and we'll display a change. I could go in by here. I could see change ID. I could go in if I knew all of those, but I'm going to show you the full way through. So there we go. At the top, I've got my sort on descending ID. So my latest change is going to be at the top. As you can see here, I've got a change here, and it's in a defined state. So like all the screens in Admin Tool, everything has context help. So I can see here. Let's have a look at statements. As you can see here, I've got an alter table, got an alter index, and I've got another alter. Let's have a look and see what these are. I'm going to drop the primary key. I'm going to alter the index. I'm going to add a column onto there, and I'm going to add the constraint back in. So let's analyze what we're going to do. A screen you'll recognize from before, very similar to the analyze screens. One thing to note is this base version. So we'll take a snapshot. We send it to automatic. We could send it to a user one where you predefine things, or we could use an existing one. My PDSs that I'm going to use. Thing to note here is generate a recover change. So I want to generate a recover, and I want to recover the data to the original. So this is before I start the change. If I knew the table was empty, I could put in DDL only. And these are the work statement list and the JCL for the recover. It is a different PDS from the analyze job to save. Make sure you don't overwrite. And all the other things there that you would recognize from the previous video. So let's press enter. Do I want to generate a run change? I've said yes. I tend to do this because it's there, but I'll show you. You can regenerate at any time. So yes, I'm going to put it into this run JCL library, and I'm going to change reporting. Now, I've asked for a recover change, so therefore I get this screen up here, which is the recover change for the change ID. So here you see it's pre-populated the change ID number, and it's going to, this is where it's going to put the recover. So I hit enter there, and here we go. This is the start of the reporting options. And we have a job here. Let's put this data analyze, and we'll do a submit. And let's go and have a look and see that job running. Okay, so it's ended. A lot of the same types of things that you see, but down on compare 4, we have the output that you've seen before. And as you can see here, compared to the tables, we're going to alter the indexes and the tables. Very, very similar to what we've seen with the analyze before. That's that job run, and we come back here. And the first thing to notice after we go refresh is that 548, which is a change that we're running, is now changed to an analyze stage. So we've moved from the define to the analyze, but we've also put in here a recover change, which has also been analyzed. So that's our recovery change nailed down. And we can have a look at the work statement lists. We have an unload, we have an alter index, and alter tables. So that's all ready to run. We could look at the statements here, and these are admin statements. So if we were to look at the work statement list, you can see what we're going to do. We're going to drop that index. We're going to set the current back, or we're going to reload the data because I asked to go back to the original data. So it's going to take what we have. Just left to run it. So rn to run, and here we have the same screen we saw before. This could be a couple of days. I analyzed the change and built the run. So this is just belt and braces. So we're going to do the run again, and it will warn you that you've already done this, and this is where the member is. But I'm going to continue. Don't want to run HPU, and here we go. This is the second job. So this is going to run the change. Very similar to running the work statement list. We see everything here. So let's have a run, and we'll swap over to SDSF and have a look. If we have a look down here, we'll see changes made. We're doing the unload. We made the changes. We've got a warning that there's a necessary for a check index, which is we've now generated. We've run everything, and these are basically the statements that have been run. So that's a change made. So if we go back and have a look at the object, and we look at XC, we'll see that this index has now got an extra column there. But someone comes along and says, "Oh, hang on, we made a mistake. We need that backing out." So another shortcut, 2 shortcuts: WSL to take to work statement list, CMM to take you into change management. So let's have a look and see what we've got here. One thing I should point out: if you do an I against anything, you get told everything you need to know about it, what data sets were used, when, where, etc., when all changes were made. So again, that's good to know. So we've done this. So now we've got the recovery. We need to run a recovery. And as you can see here on the statuses, we're complete on the run. We're still only analyzed on recovery. You need to put RC against the change that you made so that the right recovery is run. So hit RC, and it tells you here first off that you're in the right place to submit this, that the change has been done, and this is good to run. If we see here, this is the work statement list that we saw. There's a load in there. So let's submit. Okay, so let's have a look and see what job output is. So we have run the recovery job. It's dropped the index, recreated it, altered the table, and it's reloaded the data back into there. And I think there was 1 row in there. That's all run successfully. The report, what was loaded, 1 loaded, nothing discarded. That's as we've made the change, been told that it wasn't right, and now we've backed out the change. So we're going to have a look at the change in a moment. But interesting to see is that your original change has been put back to defined. So if you wanted to rerun it again because there was some other error outside of here, then you could go and run this again. So you need to analyze it, run it again. And as we see here, an eye against the recovery, you can see lots of information that you can recover. So we tell you where all the change files are, all the work statement lists, all the JCL. So let's go and have a quick look at this table before we finish here. And columns, XC, we're back to 2. So we've made that change and we're back. You can force people to use it by that ID table. You could make sure that they just have to do it by typing in required, and they can't get past that unless they can go and update that ID table, which you can secure. There's one other method of doing changes, that is via batch. So we can make changes in batch, and the beauty of this is that you can build them into processes. You can have them all built into whatever processes you currently have. So let's have a look and see what we can do. So the scenario here is that you've got developers who have given you a bit of DDL from your favorite data modeling. Here we go. So this is first thing, and you get this prop called GeoCCM. You generate that through TCZ, and it's there to use. And the beauty of it is that a lot of the commands that you have, or the parameters, match up to the screen. So you can see change name, change comment, content of applied jobs. You can see all that on the screen. So it's quite easy to map. So what we're doing here is just showing that how we're going to import, we're going to compare, and we're going to analyze this change. We're not going to run it yet, just so that we can see what's going on. We've got our ignores, so we've already decided what it ignores, but our favorite developers have given us this create table. We're going to import this, we're going to compare it, we're going to create it. So let's run this job. And it's just finished. So let's have a look at the output. Again, you can see that it's all of very similar outputs. What was ignored, what was built, etc., etc. So, and down here, we can see that this table has been added. And if we swap over to the change management, we can see that here we go. There is a new change there. And if we go to here, we can have a look at this. This matches what we've got. So we've imported the change. We haven't run it yet. I could have by changing this action run change. I could have put that to a yes, but I've got that in a separate job. So the thing here is that the change name needs to match what you had before. So I want to change that. So if we go submit this, and we'll go and have a look at SDSF, and it's created. And if we now go into the change management side, it's now complete. And if we go and have a look at the authorizations, we can go test K1. It is there. So if we have a look at the columns on there, so the first thing, that's just a create. And then they come around and go, you know what, we didn't quite get that right. So here we go, exactly the same job, change name, it's a different change. And we have this extra column, session user, as they wanted to put in there. So fair enough, we've taken this in, and we're going to import, analyze, and compare. So if we would submit that one, and we can go and have a look at the job. And if we have a look at the report, just go straight to the bottom. There we go, drop and created. So if we go and have a look at the change database, we'll see that there's another one in here. If we look at the work statement list, we can see that we're running a drop and create of that table. I've chosen not to generate recovery changes on here, but there's options to do that. So let's go back to this job here, and let's run that ad. Again, made the change name the same as previous, and let's submit that one. Here we go. Yeah, that's now completed. And we see the drop, the unload, drops, recreates, etc. So if we go back to the manage change, we'll see that they're now both in complete stage. And if we go to have a look at the table, and we have a look at the columns, we have that extra column in the middle there. So again, it's a very comprehensive set of change management techniques, and you can change how you do it. You can do compares against two. So here I'm comparing two table spaces, team 89 dB and 83 dB. Notice I've got the masks in here so that I can do the masking like we've seen before. So you can do it in batch as well as in online. So that means it can be built into all your batch processes. Your DDL changes can be done that way as well. So hopefully this has been useful. Change management is a very comprehensive and easy to use feature of Db2 Admin. Thank you very much.